What up, y'all? What's going on? This is your boy Big Easy Beezy, Eric Buckner in the building. And right here we got my man, the sports guru himself, Hugh. What's going on, Hugh?
What's good, my brother?
Right on, right on. So it's that time for Game Time Audible, y'all. We are your host this evening. We ready to talk some sports with y'all. Very excited to get into it. Most definitely about the March Madness and what's going on with that. We're going to talk some basketball, some baseball. We're going to talk the Olympics tonight. We're going to talk about what's going on with baseball and this new rule implementation, that type of stuff. And we also want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. So by all means, as you join the show, go ahead, pop in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking in regards to what we're saying. Or if you got some things you want to talk about in regards to your favorite player or athlete, we are definitely willing to have that discussion with you. So that being said, we're about to go ahead and show a quick commercial break or two so that gives you time to get adjusted. Share the live with other folks that like to talk sports like us. And we will do the same. And when we get back, we will get the show on and popping, y'all.
This is get your popcorn ready.
You better tell them. That's the sports guru. I'm E-Beezy. Let's do it, y'all.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
What's up, everybody? Eric Buckner here. You know Miss EB, Young Easy, Eric Buck, all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm here to kick it with y'all about this little podcast I've been doing. You know, I talk trending topics. I talk about the stuff we as people need to talk about. I talk about some things, actually, that people kind of want to shy away from because we got to have these discussions, folks. That's how we get better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hold on. Yeah, so anyway, you know, I do it Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. You can check it out on Facebook, on YouTube. You know, it's a good show. I say get into it. Yeah, you want to know the name of the show? You said, hold on. Hey, you, get off my lawn. Yeah, anyway, that's the name of the show, by the way. Get off my lawn. Check it out Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. Let me go handle this. Night Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, and residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love.
Hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And your dish darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
What up, though, y'all? We back. Game Time Audible in the building. Got your boy E-Beezy and my man, the sports guru, Hugh Lee.
It is.
What's with y'all? So first things first, we are going to talk about the first topic this evening's first topic. We're gonna have to talk about the March Madness, y'all. What's going on with the tournament? Get into it, Hugh.
Man, you already know, man. It's been a really crazy March Madness, but we always suspect that from this standpoint, man. It's the center of attention for all teams, man. Even the underdogs teams get a chance in this tournament, man. And underdog teams haven't let us down. I was so excited to see some of these games and have my fingers crossed because one of the teams specifically I wanted to be out was Illinois, man. Because we had our problems with them in the past, but to see some of them number one ranked teams go down, man, it was awesome, man. You don't never want to see your team get surprised or get put in that situation, but it definitely relieved me to definitely know that Michigan will be in the Sweet 16. So we got that going right now.
Right. Well, yeah, we're going to get into the teams that still left. Let me address comments right quick. Hey, Israel saying that to Amy, my girlfriend Amy, show contributor, fact finder, and ultimate show supporter. Always love when she pops in. We got Israel in the building, host of Israel's Room. What up? What's going on? Israel saying what's back to Amy. Amy said, I heard there were insane upsets early on. Absolutely, Amy. For example, let's talk about a couple of them. One of the teams still left in the tournament is Oral Roberts University, man. Very small Christian school, not known for their basketball or any of their sports, to be honest. And they have made it to the Sweet 16 as a 15 seed. What about that, Hugh?
Man, that's amazing, man, because a lot of them teams, man, they be so under the radar, man. They don't even have their uniforms together. And they'll get them just in time for the tournament. And most of those teams usually show out. Oral Roberts was a team that I definitely didn't expect to go this far, man. I didn't have them even going past the first round. But then to make it and to have the endurance, and basically, I don't know what it is. Whatever this coach is, man, he definitely should be the coach of the year if they had it in college. I don't know what he's preaching to these dudes. Literally. But I had to pause on that one just to let people know where I'm coming. But yeah, man, I just really think it's good, man. It's good for these teams who people don't think have a fighting chance to prove everybody wrong, man. Oral Roberts is a great Cinderella story right now, man.
Right. I mean, another great Cinderella story. And in the past they've done well in the tournament in recent years is Loyola Chicago, small school out of Chicago. Everybody, if you don't know, you better get up on Sister Mary, man. Sister Mary is one of the team's big supporters. She's one of the chaplains of the school, all of 101 years old. And basically, when Sister Mary in the house, they rarely lose, man, whether it's tournament or regular season.
Sister Mary's a miracle, man. She had the boys hyping. When I seen who they was playing, I looked on my phone and man, Sister Mary, I don't know about this one right here. You might got me on this one, but
okay. They said that Gonzaga team is nice now. Both freshman point guard in the game right now. The best freshman point guard in the game right now, Jalen Suggs. Man, let me tell you about that kid, Jalen Suggs. I'd be very surprised if he ends up staying. Bottom line is, looking at Gonzaga right now, they still very much the team to beat. They've been the number one team all season. They have not lost. And more importantly, one of the main reasons I'm thinking they're succeeding right now is because they've not had not one real issue with COVID, unlike most of the teams that's been in the tournament. What's your thought?
The best team. You already know that. That's what always come into play, health. COVID got a stranglehold on everything. So if you can stay healthy, despite everything that's going on and still play at a high level, which they have been, I don't really see nobody beating them, man. I would love to see Michigan win.
Right.
But
my cousin Keon sent that one out, by the way. What's up, cuz? Glad that you got your team, man. Successful and you was COVID free and all that. Good job, my guy. I want to have you on the show, cuz. So hit me up in the messenger. Would love to talk to you about your first season and what went on campus and whatnot. So, yeah. So yeah, that being said, yeah, definitely that. And taken from a person that's actually playing college basketball right now, you see how impressed he was with Gonzaga. Like I said, I actually watched the second game of that in its entirety, and they are a complete team. They got a good front court, good back court. They got good bench play. They're gonna be hard to beat, Hugh.
Oklahoma pushed them to the limits too, man. It got into a little nasty scuffle at the end, but Gonzaga prevailed, man. That's gonna be a hard team, man. Whoever play them, man, they're gonna always come out scrapping, man. They got a good talented team. I don't see them going nowhere no time soon either. Unless, like there, if some of them guys decide to go off into the NBA.
Okay, yeah. I want to send a shout out to people popping in the room. We can see in the comment. Barbara G, we see you in the room. Thanks for checking out the show. Chief Jim Devlin doing his thing down there in Hewitt, Texas. Shout out to you too, sir. Always appreciate you checking out the program, supporting the network. So yeah, let's talk about these teams that's still in here. Of course, we know about Gonzaga. They are playing Creighton on Sunday. That's the early game. And then we got USC and Oregon. Now, the thing about USC, their best player is a 7-footer named Evan Mosley. Now, this guy, he basically can do it all at 7 feet. He can handle the ball. He can play in the low post. He's a three-point threat. And also, he is a great defender. They are going to be a tough team to beat. But Oregon, they're a very scrappy bunch, too. And, of course, these teams have played each other a few times already this season, seeing they both in the Pac-10. What you think about that, Hugh?
It feel like football all over again. Talk about these two teams facing each other, but yeah, man, that kid, man, from USC is incredible. He's a big dude, lanky. He could play point. He can shoot, grab rebounds. Actually, I know you know this. He's a number 2 ranked kid right now in the draft.
Right. They compare him to a young player of similar structure and stature, one Kevin Garnett. He does kind of have a game like that, but I was venture to far to say he might actually be better than Kevin Garnett if he could work on consistently scoring from outside, because his low post game is dominant when it chooses to be. Okay, we got Coach B checking in. Go Blue. You know it.
Yes, sir.
About them next, because they're also in the East round at 5 o'clock on Sunday. They're playing Florida State. Now, don't sleep on Florida State. They got this kid, Ricky Barnes, 6'8" guy, kind of a do-it-all thing. They comparing him a lot to one Carmelo Anthony in regards to how his play is. You know, he's basically their point guard. So he handles the ball a lot. He distributes. He's a decent defender, but in the end, he is very athletic. And I think they're going to have trouble with that because, of course, the person that will probably check him in regards to Michigan, if he was healthy, would be Isaiah Livers. And because they don't have him, they're going to have a hard time trying to find somebody that's tall enough to contend with him in terms of his height, but quick enough to contend with him in terms of his speed.
We definitely need all we can get right now as far as on Michigan, and we need just the guys to just stay in their lane and just stay disciplined, because we had a team in LSU that was very athletic, man. They definitely were scaring me with their athletic.
That game was looking real shaky up until like them last 8 minutes. I agree.
They were shooting crazy baskets. It was like everything they were shooting was going in, grabbing rebounds. They were a scrappy team, and they were out hustling us at one point. And once we got on that 14-0 run, I said, we'll be okay, but let's hope that they could just stick to the plan. And, you know, they definitely came up victorious, but FSU's definitely going to be one for them. It really is going to determine where their heart is at right now. They could they could go at least to the Final Four if they could pass this, you know, team, because
we got somebody hitting the VIP line. We got Coach V wanting to check in for a minute. Let's see what he's talking about. What's going on, Coach V? You want to check in about that tournament right quick?
Hey, look, I want to say this, man. With Michigan getting past LSU, how you doing, Big Hughes?
Hey, what's up, man? You all right?
Yeah, we got Coach V checking in, y'all.
I want to say this, though. Michigan getting by LSU the way they did.
Yeah, go ahead, Coach.
I say by Michigan getting past LSU the way they did, I think Michigan is that was a big test for them. You know, Florida State, you got a good team with that big center. With that big center they have, I think he's 7'2".
Yeah, they got a big guy in the middle too. Yep.
Yeah, they do. They got a big guy in the middle. But I think Michigan gonna slide bypass Florida State, man.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Coach. You think they're going to the Final Four?
I think it's gonna be Gonzaga and Michigan playing in the Final Four.
That's actually who I picked in my championship game. So yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna say this though. Gonzaga really ain't been tested.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that because of that league they play in, they didn't have a lot of good competition there. Yeah.
No, they didn't. You know, but they do always have a good year, and they do have a good year in the tournament and everything. But I think the bracket that they in now, the division that they all in with Michigan and Florida State and all them, this is the toughest one. This is the toughest one right here.
Absolutely.
So I think, my opinion, I think it's gonna be Michigan and whoever else in on the other bracket.
Okay. Well, we're about to talk about more of them brackets. We appreciate you checking in, Coach. Thanks for letting us know everything's all good with you.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt.
All right, Coach B.
All right. You know you want our VIPs, man. Call in anytime. All right.
All right, man. Y'all stay up, man. Have a good show.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, y'all. That is Coach V, one of our favorites here at the Nighthawk Network. We appreciate you. All right, we got Miss Pat checking in. What's going on, Miss Pat? Thanks for checking our show.
Hey,
look who's here. Look who's here. I knew he
what's up? We knew it was coming sooner or later.
You right on time, cuz. I'm definitely ready to talk about them because I would say they definitely are one of the shockers of the tournament so far. As an 11th seed, I did not see them getting this far, but I did see them play that second game. They got a nice little squad there in Syracuse.
They've been playing pretty good.
Because you got to remember, one, you already know. If you're playing at Syracuse, 2-3 zone all day, every day, it is a staple of their defense. If in the end you got a good 2-3 zone going, and then, of course, you got that kid right there, Buddy Buckets, Buddy Boeheim, Jim Boeheim's baby boy, lighting it up. What do you think?
Yeah, he looks really good, man. Buddy Bucket's been all over the place in this one, man. They kind of remind me of that team, you know, the Melo was on, man. Just really strong team, man. Good effort. It was a shocker, man. I was like, man, when I seen them get past them and the way they got past it, man, they made it look really convincing. It wasn't like they were getting pushed over or they was losing at one point. They just kind of came in and they handled their business, man, briefcase and all.
Right. So, yeah, as we have this, we're going to put it out there, man. Who y'all got winning this thing, man? Who y'all got winning this tournament? Yeah, he said, I was definitely shocked. Yeah, especially with all the upsets we had even in the first round, because I was surprised that we at where we at. So, right now in our Sweet 16, let's give you a quick breakdown. For our Sweet 16 for the men, we got Gonzaga, Creighton, USC, Oregon, Michigan, Florida State, USC, Alabama, Baylor, Villanova, Arkansas, and of course the very upset-minded Oral Roberts, Loyola, Chicago, and Oregon State, and Syracuse and Houston. Now here's the thing. Some of them games, they're going to lead to some very interesting things going on in terms of that Elite Eight, man. Because in the end, Loyola, Chicago, Oregon State playing each other. One of them teams going to win. We got an 8-12, man. So that's going to be the thing where we look at it like, okay, this team might actually go to the Final Four. And the winner of that game plays the Syracuse-Houston winner. So if Syracuse can manage to go ahead and get to the Elite Eight, they may make something happen.
Yeah, it's been a lot of shakeups, man. So who knows, man? The one thing that I've seen too was on the Houston game. That's going to be a tough one, man. That team is no joke.
Right.
But if they get past them,
pretty good all year, but all you got to do is get high. Exactly. And right now, some of them teams, that's exactly what's happening. And then that factor that we know is COVID-19. Yeah, they're all in the bubble right now, but remember, it takes 2 to 14 days before you get certain symptoms in regards to COVID-19. So just because they test negative today doesn't mean that by the end of the week they have an outbreak on one of those teams, and that puts them out the tournament. As you know, VCU found that out the hard way. They get to the tournament only to come up with several positive tests and have to leave before they play even one game.
That's sad too, man. Those guys was prepared to play, man. You got the seniors, man, who might not never see that basketball court again, to not be able to play, to be told because of people had COVID on the team that they wasn't eligible to play, man. That's just heartbreaking.
Absolutely. Yeah, Miss Pat agrees. But okay, Cuz said he going with Gonzaga, but hell, I can't call it. Well, like I said, in the ideal world, I think it is Gonzaga. It's their tournament to lose right now. They are the only undefeated team in the tournament. They are the only team that basically have led most of their games by halftime all season. They haven't had any real adversity. Like Coach said, they haven't really played a lot of hardcore teams in terms of their overall schedule. So let's see what happens when they get to, okay, let's just look at it here now. They're scheduled to play Creighton, a team that is good. I've seen them play, but they're not on Gonzaga's level. And then, of course, they take the winner of the USC-Oregon game. Now, again, USC got one of the better players in the tournament, but because Gonzaga is so deep and a lot of their skill set comes from their bigger players, I don't see them having a problem with either one of those teams. So I see them at least making it to the Final Four before they have any real challenge. Now, whether it's Michigan or Florida State or Alabama, that's who they'll play in the Final Four. I think they'll have a problem with any of those teams.
Alabama, man, their defense, when they're not even playing well, man, they got hell of a defense, man. They surprised me. That last game, they really came out and balled out, man. But when they didn't play that good in the early round, the defense held up, man. They shut teams down to the point where they're not scoring as many points. But yeah, when they play and they click on offense too, they're just as dangerous. If they could put both together and just constantly do it, man, they'll be at the Final Four at ease.
Exactly. Now, hold on. We're going to touch on something else right quick. Let me address this comment. They definitely won't be able to play, and I know they are going to be. So, exactly, if they catch that COVID bug, exactly. And certain teams have already succumbed to that. Of course, we support women's athletics here on the show as well, so we will briefly touch on what's going on their side of the bracket. If you think this men's tournament that had a lot of upsets, let me tell you, the women's tournament has been very shocking indeed. I mean, I take, for example, Wright State. They beat a very good team the first round when they beat Oklahoma State. And I actually had that Oklahoma State going to the Sweet 16. So I seen them play, and they got some very good forwards on that team. Not to mention they had a couple people come off the bench that I was very impressed with. But Wright State, a little school that's around this area, they basically showed up and showed out. Now, of course, they end up losing that second round of Missouri State. But in the end, I was very impressed by them. Another team in the women's tournament that's turning a few heads of late is this team coming out of, basically that Northwestern squad. That Northwestern squad actually showed up and showed out as well. Keep in mind, in the Big Ten, they were not overly impressive in terms of their play. The Michigans and Michigan States, and shout out to Michigan. We got both the men and the women in the Sweet 16. Ha-ha! Run to that. But no, Northwestern was not a big player in the Big Ten. You had Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland. It was several other teams that were seen as better as them. But Northwestern and brought their A game to the tournament, and now they're in the Sweet 16, so they're ready to go.
H2, where you at? I see your team beat the brakes off Alabama. I just looked at that score just recently. They played today, and the final score was ugly, man, 64-100.
Yeah, shout out to Maryland. Yeah, me and H2 talked about that. She saw that game. She was very impressed with how they played. I think 100 is actually the biggest score any team has had in the tournament so far as the women's. Now, of course, at this point, we still got a lot of the big schools still involved in the women's bracket. It wasn't a lot of major upsets in terms of the top schools. But, we still, of course, got my Lady Huskies. They still, of course, in the mix. You got South Carolina still looking pretty good. You got Louisville, who was basically in the top 5 most of the season. They are looking impressive in their tournament run so far. And, of course, right now we even actually have a tournament game for the women going on. There's a delay for some reason. But right now we got Texas and UCLA playing. You got any update on that?
No, not at all. It's still in the delay mode. But did you see what just happened? I just happened to look at my phone right now, man. The Iowa State Texas A&M game over with, man, and they barely squeaked past them, man. They won 84-82 in overtime. When they said final,
okay. Well, shout out to those ladies. They have made it to the next round. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing who they play next.
They look like they was gonna lose.
Let's see. We're gonna give you a quick rundown of the Sweet 16 before we move on. On the ladies' side, we got Stanford, Missouri State, Oregon, Louisville, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, Maryland in the winner of that Texas UCLA game. Of course, my lady Huskies playing Iowa next. Michigan playing Baylor. That's gonna be a very good matchup, by the way. Michigan has one of the better players in the country, and this young lady that comes out of Ohio. She basically has scored the most points of any player, male or female, this year individually. She had a 54-point game, of which they, of course, lost, but her 54 points was the best of any Division I player this year. And we got North Carolina State, another good team that people are not really up on as far as the women's side, and Indiana, and Arizona and Texas A&M. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing both those teams and both the men's and the women play on Saturday and Sunday. For those of you who don't know, Saturday and Sunday, Monday and Tuesday for this next round of games. And then, of course, we'll have the Final Four the following weekend. So, we've seen a lot of good games so far. Looking forward to seeing more. What about you, Hugh?
Man, definitely looking forward to watching the rest of the rounds on Saturday, man. Just the March Madness period, man. You know, we was deprived last year and we didn't get a chance to even watch it, to see who was going to be a champion. And now to see it come back at this capacity, unfortunately, you know, teams are getting out because of the COVID and can't compete without even having a fair chance. But, man, it's still been a really good tournament, man. I've just been glad to be a part of it this year.
Right. And I would be remiss to say that, okay, first of all, good job, NCAA. Because remember, at first, they were just going to have a bubble situation for the men and not the women. So I'm glad they made that adjustment. But shame on you for what happened with that weight room incident. For those of y'all who don't know, basically one of the young ladies that played for the Oregon school, I believe, did a tweet and pointed out the disparities between what was the women's training facilities and the men's training facilities. And basically, the women were given one rack of small weights as their weight room, and the men had a full weight room with all type of weights, free weights, the whole deal. And she basically pointed out how unfair that was. So after several famous people of athletes and Hollywood alike retweeted that particular post, that next day they went to change and modify that situation. But bottom line, should have never happened like that. Because the women basically don't make the type of revenue that the men do in regards to the tournament, does not mean that you are supposed to deal with that unfairly. There are fundage and fundings specifically designed for Title IX schools so that they have both men and women's athletics, and they all have the right to the same facility. And they need to abide by that, regardless of revenue. Hugh?
Yeah, man, I don't think that's fair, man. We already talked about how they just didn't really show the women basketball or just, you know, sports in general the respect that it deserved, man. It's just not fair because of the fact they're not doing the same revenues or making that same income or bringing in as much money as, you know, the men. But at the same time, you should just basically respect those ladies and let them put their platform out there too, man. And it's like, it's always been that way. It's been male dominant, and they just need to do better, man, because the girls are out there and they working hard. WNBA players not getting their respect. This got to stop, man. You know, I mean, come on now. It's 2021, man. We shouldn't even be in that situation right now.
Well,
man.
you know, we're definitely going to devote a show or two to have those discussions in regards to the inequities between men and women's athletics, because part of the issue that I see is that a lot of the women's sports are not being supported oftentimes by women. And I think that would be a key component to grow the sport if they market and cater to the fact that these are women like you are a woman and you should support them. And then from that point, grow it from there to where now we have women on board. Let's get the male counterparts to view some of the women's sports as well. But we'll have that discussion at another day. Quick comments. I was surprised that the Maryland men's team lost to Alabama. Last year, I declared Syracuse national champs. I bet you did, because I was going to go to the tournament last year and show up and show out. But, of course, y'all know, wasn't no tournament. So your declaration obviously fell on deaf ears because there was no tournament. But and he's saying it was weights. Even their NCAA tournament package of items, huge difference. Exactly. I mean, in terms of some of the stuff they got in terms of the clothing and the training facilities, all of that, it was clearly biased and unfair. And it's not right, man. Because in the end, the NCAA making big billions of dollars. They make enough to where they can support both the men's and women's team equally and still have money left over.
But men should definitely stand up on that too as well, not just
and some of those retweets, they did include other men that were at the bubble as well as NBA players that stood up for the WNBA players and
That's
some
good.
male actors as well as female actors. So yeah, they had a lot of support in it.
Yeah, because that's their college counterparts. If they can't do it, no one can. It all starts with them as a unit.
Well, okay, that is our tournament talk. Like I said, hope you guys will be continue to check that out as I will. I'm looking at my ESPN bracket. It's okay. It's not too bad, but my women's bracket is all scrapped up. As Cuz said here, Gamecocks should win. As you know, Cuz, I actually picked the Gamecocks to beat my lady Huskies in the final. Remember, when they played earlier this year, they only won by a couple points. And I honestly think if it gets back to that, because the Gamecocks have the more mature team in terms of the overall talent and leadership, I think they will find a way to make those adjustments that they need to do to pull it off this time. But we'll see. And of course, I'm not mad if my UConn Lady Huskies win. And they win ahead of the game. Because remember, they got the number one recruiting class in the country coming in next year. So even if we don't pull it off this year, next year it's on and popping, y'all. But anyway, that is it for our basketball talk. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to get into a little baseball, y'all. The season about to start up very shortly, and something that come down the pipe you will find very interesting in regards to a rule change, and it's basically going to change the game if it's implemented the right way. But we'll have that discussion when we get back. This is Game Time Audible. I am not the sports guru. That's that guy. I'm EB, though. And I am here. Hell, that kid EB, he made commercials sometimes. I'm right here.
Discretion is advised.
Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Unscripted talk on police reform and race relations.
And now, Behind the Blue Curtain's law enforcement liaison, retired 32-year Chicago police veteran, homicide detective, former commander, sergeant, grant writer, lecturer, and adjunct professor, Joseph J. Mosley.
Behind the Blue Curtain's Minister of Common Sense, former 12-year Fort Worth police officer, educator, voice of reason, and unapologetic practitioner of sound judgment, the young scholar, LaRonda Young.
Behind the Blue Curtain's co-host, fact checker, and investigative journalist is Adoro Rodriguez.
Hi everybody, I'm Lily, and today I want to share my book with the whole entire world. aquarium with me. Bye at the bottom of the screen to see where you can buy the book. And make sure you don't forget to like and subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel.
All right, y'all, we are back. This is Gametime Audible. I am your boy, Big Easy Beezy, Eric Buckner, in the building, along with the sports guru himself, Hugh Lee.
Yeah.
What's going on? We are loving you guys' support and checking out the program this evening. As we have these discussions on the topics, feel free to chime in through the comments. And if you have the VIP line, you are also free to call that. If you are a VIP, you already know because you already have the number. Do your thing. If you want to become a VIP, you may actually be considered for that if you indeed contact me by using our good old Gmail account, which is, hold on, this right here, Nighthawk Network 313@gmail.com. That's Night H Network 313@gmail.com. Let us know you want to be a VIP and have access to the show through the phone. We will gladly hook that up for you. So that being said, let's get on to our next topic of the discussion this evening. We are going to talk a little baseball, y'all. So let us get our baseball banter up here and discuss about the latest and what's going on with baseball. Go ahead and let them know what's going on with it, Hugh.
Man, that surprised me earlier when I was looking and I was talking to you, man, about how they handle the baseballs now, man. They feel like a lot of people been tampering with the baseballs, and that can become a big fine. We don't know what it's going to be yet. We don't know how much money they're going to fine people or games being suspended, but yeah, they're really getting to the point where they're starting to notice now that most of those balls have been rigged. They've been tampering with the balls, and they just don't feel like it's really helping the sport. They already stopped the guys from doing steroids, for what we know. A lot of them still get caught, or they might have banned substances that get suspended, but they crack down on that. But then the level of the playing field have to be the same too. You cannot do stuff with tampering baseballs and rigging the baseball so you can get a little bit more torque or velocity. Because that torque, man, when you spin the ball and you do certain things with it, man, they got tricks.
Now, Hugh, I need you to fully understand. Keep in mind, brother like me used to pitch on the mound a little bit. You talk to the people. I want to actually show you something right quick, but go ahead. Do your thing. I will be right back. Talk to them.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's fair, man. But at the same time, they're going to start checking the velocity, making sure the pitches are really to the point where when they do look at them, that they're not being tampered with baseballs. People are still doing one of the old tricks in the book there, grabbing their hats, getting grease off of it. And some people even use tar. I even heard of incidents where some of the players got suspended for using that. But at the end of the day, we just want the game of baseball to be fair. It's America's original game, so we just want them to stick to the rules. We can't have it one way and, don't look at it on the other end. The player's not really doing steroids, so you can't have it.
Here's the understanding, Hugh, because in the end, what you're saying is all fine and good, but I call BS, okay? I call BS. This is why. Remember, what they feel contributes to the growth of the game is not the defense, but the offense. Pitching is part of defense. Pitchers have dominated in terms of overall strikeouts, putouts, and what have you in the last few seasons. That is why the numbers in terms of the home runs or stuff are down. The only reason why they are to a great degree is because remember the one year where they had the tight baseball and the home runs were jumping off the stick. They made that adjustment to how the baseballs were before. And then what do we have? We have more strikeouts. We have more putouts. We have lower batting averages. They feel like that is why the sport is dying because we're not seeing enough offense. That is why this change is being implemented. That being said, the doctrine of said baseball, can y'all see that? That's been going on as long as I've been alive, as long as anybody on this page right now has been alive. Let me go through your comments before I go on here. So I actually want to point out a few things. All right, we got my man's Tony Tillman, brother Tillman in the house. What's going on? Cuz saying I was already last week, had notes out and everything. See what I'm saying? We appreciate you though, cuz. We got my man Pryor Hunter checking in. What up, though? Shout out to Pryor Hunter in the building. Soon to be the new host of the Gospel According to Pride. That is Young Pride himself, was on the show last night. Thanks for doing the show, sir. We'll be talking to you tomorrow in regards to that. But anyway, people right here, hold on. Because, you know, this camera throw me off sometimes. This, my friends, is a baseball. Now, it's hard to see because we got the green screen on and whatnot. But this is a baseball. An actual league size baseball, I might add. Note that there's different grips for different pitches. You know that. This right here I'm demonstrating is the fastball grip. However, it's more of the two-seam variety. Two-seam basically means you got your fingers on the two seams. We ain't gonna get too technical, but I do want you to have an understanding. When you play in the game of actual baseball,
show up that curveball.
Curveball right here. This is my curveball. You know, I have a Falcon curveball grip.
Look at the rip.
You have to have that torque, okay? No, I did this thing in real life, you. Did not have a lot of velocity, but yeah, was definitely a trick pitcher. We want to get real technical. You see that? Knuckleball. Yes, I had a knuckler. Yeah. Not the curve, yes, sir. And the knuckler, okay? Had the palm ball, too. Palm ball, hold it, the thumb. You control it with the finger spin, okay? If it goes correctly, it's like a slow slider. Have an understanding of these things. That being said, these balls are absolutely doctored before any pitcher gets them. In other words, an actual baseball is treated with this thing they call Mississippi mud, where they take the mud and rub it on the baseball so it's not slick to begin with. So one, you already have a doctored baseball that you are working with. The second thing is that we have the rosin that the pitchers use to get the sweat and stuff off their hands. Now, there's certain substances that you can put with the rosin to use it to your advantage. Like, say, for example, you take a petroleum jelly, for instance, and rub it on said hands. It does not have to be extra on your bill or cap or whatnot. You can merely just put it on your hands while you're in the dugout and then come out, take the rosin bag. Now you have like a paste. You then use that paste on the baseball in regards to the grip. Because in the end, you want that grip to slip when it comes out your hand. That helps your rotation spin because as you slip the ball out your hand as opposed to aiming it and letting it spin off on its own, that grip allows for it to have that freaky spin sometimes. Sometimes you see that ball and all of a sudden it just kind of dips like that. Usually that ball has been doctored and dealt with in a way to where, yeah, they do some hokey pokey. Now, some people, they've been very blatant in regards to, go back to the old school. Because you about my age. You remember a young man by the name of Gaylord Perry? I know you remember Gaylord Perry. He was the epitome of the jump ball pitcher in his older time. Keep in mind, Gaylord Perry pitched to damn near his 50. And the way he got away with that is because he used to doctor the baseball. And everybody knew the shit, dude. They knew it. Let's go back to the old knuckler, Charlie Huff. When he wasn't throwing said knuckleball, fastball stuff had some real freaky spins to it. That's because he was doctoring the baseball. There are other pitchers back in the day that said had some freaky stuff going on. We can go back as far as hell. Walter Johnson. They said because of his sidearm delivery and some of the hokey pokey he was doing to the baseball. Yeah, let's not forget the Negro brothers, Phil and Joe. They absolutely was doing some. Phil got caught, wasn't it? No, it was Joe that got caught. Remember when he was with the Yankees and he was like, I ain't got nothing, and pulled the nail file out of his pocket?
Definitely remember that. It was borderline a disgrace.
So this has been going on in baseball for literally centuries. But now all of a sudden they want to crack down on it because in the end they want them to throw it over the plate so they can hit it over the plate so we can get some more offense and more butts in the seats. That's why I call BS, you.
It's a la the Fernando Tatis era, man, in baseball. And that's what they want. I think they're getting to the point where that's where some of the actual fans were down because of the fact the pitcher was dominating. I love defense in baseball, man. As a baseball fan, you like to see a little offense sometimes, but I like to see the best hitters against the best pitchers going at it, man, and doing their stuff. And if the person get a better hit off, tilt the hat off to him. But if the pitcher dominates, hey, big ups to the pitcher. I definitely like a good challenge. They shouldn't even deal with that, though, man.
They throwing 105 miles an hour. That's actually a pitcher that's clocking that in the minors right now. But in the same token, if you ain't got no control with it, if you can't put it over the plate, then none of that matters. That being said, most of these people are striking out on some bullshit. They swinging that shit they ain't got no business swinging at. That's not the pitcher's fault. That's them for make them throw strikes.
Like you said, they want them boys to throw over the plate, man. They just want it to be underhand baseball.
Start playing slow pitch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it'd be absolutely. Like football, that's all you want is offense.
Much.
Let them put some on it. Gel, snot, grease, tar, hot sauce. You'd be surprised from the things that I've heard and actually seen people use to doctor up a baseball, sir. I remember somebody using icy hot at one point.
I wouldn't be surprised. They got that slip to it.
But yeah.
And then they call brothers.
All sports love offense. And yeah, that's part of why the NBA suck at certain times today. Because in the end, these 140 to 130 games, back in the day in the 80s when they was throwing up them numbers, at least they was playing some semblance of defense. Now it's like, okay, you shoot it. Now you shoot it. And how many damn times have you seen a game where, okay, we about third quarter in, I need to get my points average up. When I get across half court, I'm pulling that bitch. How many times we done seen that lately? That is disgusting basketball to me.
Bring back the hand checking, please.
That's part of the problem. You can't touch nobody now, especially the superstar player. But then on the other hand, some of the other superstars player, like the LeBron Jameses of the world, we'll get into him a little bit later, they beat him up. And he don't even get no call. Okay, hold on. Cuz is saying, I guess better were on the juice, so they like that era. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. You know it.
See, back when everybody was hitting 50 home runs, when nobody talking about what the pitchers was doing.
Yeah, they didn't care. They wanted to see it go over them, go over the stadiums.
Because granted, the steroids did not benefit the pitchers as much as they did the hitters, you know what I'm saying, in terms of recovering from working out and things of that nature. So, not to say pitchers weren't juicing. We all know about the Roger Clemens. They were probably less inclined to do so than, say, your average power hitter. But anyway, man, every time I pick this thing up, I'll be ready to go out there and throw a few. When we going to play?
I'm ready to slug one of your pitches, E.
Okay, then. We can make that happen. Okay. Because I ain't got to doctor up nothing. You ain't hitting nothing here, bro. But anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on with that. As y'all know, opening day is starting April 1st. I'm looking forward to it. I'm considering going to a game later on in the season, man.
You got to.
That is if I am fully vaccinated, which I'm actually considering very strongly now. We're going to talk about that next week on my other show. But anyway, yeah, if we do all that, then later on in the season, September, October, we definitely got to go check out a game. But that being said, y'all, that is our baseball segment for this evening. We're about to take another small commercial break, just a quick one. Then when we come back, we want to talk about the latest. That's what's going on in the WNBA. I'm sorry. Yeah, I go. In the NBA with the trade deadline. We got the trade deadline coming up, and we definitely want to do it. Cuz checking in, by the way, no virus side effects on my 2 shots. Excellent, cuz. I'm so glad to hear that.
That's awesome, Sid.
There's several people in our family now that have been vaccinated fully, and none of them are reporting any great issues in regards to it. Even my little bro J Buck has taken care of that recently. So yeah, I'm about to set up my appointment, I do believe. But like I said, we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, Game Time Audible, Sports Guru, E, us 2 guys, we'll be back real quick. Don't forget though, the views and or opinions expressed here on Game Time Audible is that of the host and or guests, and does not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its affiliates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. Have you been scrolling Facebook and looking for that quick sports fix? Want a quick peek of what's going on in the latest sports news? Check out Pure to the Game Sports Blog with the sports guru, QD Lee. He'll get you together. Check it out. Follow it on Facebook. Make sure you like it.
bitches.
And now, once again, from the iconic city of Baltimore, we bring you season 2 of Helena Hologram. Hey, bitches, let's talk about it. All right, y'all, we are back. This is Game Time Audible. That is Hugh Lee, the sports guru. I'm your boy, Big Easy B. Eric Buckner in the building. We are talking sports with you guys this evening. Loving the conversation right now. By all means, as we have these discussions, please feel free to tune in the comments and let us know what you're thinking in regards to what's being talked about. I see your first comment. I'm going to skip that because we're going to come back to that prior. But the second one is, where's Toronto's Lowry and or Powell going, if anywhere? Glad you brought that up because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. What's going on, the latest trade rumors in the NBA. So we are going to have that discussion now. Hold on. He also says, will the Lakers get 7 Mile Dre if bought out by the Cavs? Yeah. Let's get into that for a second there, Hugh, as we talk some NBA with the people in our B-Ball Talk segment. Okay, Hugh, so what's the latest you're hearing in regards to rumors and whatnot?
Man, the rich keep getting richer right now, man. I'm not going to really get off into the injuries or anything, but the Lakers definitely need that support. I've been hearing rumors that Lowry was one of the guys that was in, discussion of going to the Lakers, Kyle Lowry. And actually what he just said, big ups to Pride. I know he loved them some B-ball. I've been definitely hearing about Andre Drummond going over there too. That's been a rumor that's been spattered out there, but it's been a lot of whispers and talks about players going to different places. I know too, one of the more fascinating ones we talked about a little earlier is Aaron Gordon's not happy with the situation right now in Orlando, and he was one of the big talks right now where they were saying trading teams. And I know the Celtics was floating around out there. That was one of the main teams, the topic. And Andre Drummond as well with the Celtics. It's like you hear the little spatterings, but it's going to really be a good trade deadline. I just feel like some teams need to strengthen up, especially the Boston Celtics in mind, because they don't really look that good right now. They need all the help they could get to at least try to get them over this hump.
Right. Clearly, they having some issues with team chemistry because, like I said, on paper, it look like they have a very good team that should definitely be in the mix. But right now, it's just not gelling, y'all. Not at all. My cousin saying he on strike. He also said Nets get Blake Griffin now. Come on, man.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Deal. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's some BS. He said, yes, I'm a hater. See, here's the thing about that, cuz, and I think this is a trend that we're going to see continue. As you know, teams are looking to either A, build up a whole bunch of acquisitions and build their team organically from scratch through free agency of smaller players and through the draft, like your Portlands of the world, for instance. But then other teams are looking to buy their way into a championship, create these super teams of players, particularly some older, some younger, who have already achieved success, already made their share of coins and money in the building. So now they chasing that championship. And because of that, they're going to the team where the best players are. And of course, we know one of the best players in the league, even at the ripe old age of 36, is one LeBron James. So yeah, people are trying to align himself with the Lakers. And also, we also know Kevin Durant is one of the better players in the league when healthy. So yeah, a lot of people are looking to align themselves in the East with that particular squad. So that's where Blake Griffin comes in. As we know, Blake Griffin, when healthy, was one of the better players in the league. But as we also know, Blake Griffin ain't really been fully healthy for years now.
A long time.
At this point, he's got to be looking at his NBA mortality, saying, okay, what can I get out of this while I'm still here? Let me attempt to get this ring at least before I have to call it a day. Because clearly this is the last big contract I'm going to get. So why not jump on a squad that has a championship aspiration? Cuz is also saying, just stop the season now. Lakers, Nets, Clippers, Celtics. Put them in Final Four, now best of 5. Well, I think the Bucks might have something to say about that, cuz, for one. And there's a couple other teams in the West that might also speak on it, the Utahs and the Denvers of the world. But yeah, I understand why you say that, because in the end, the big teams in the big markets with the big players, they look like they on a collision course to make that happen. What you think, Hugh?
I definitely think so, man. I'm surprised right now we was talking about it because we was talking about Boogie Cousins. We haven't heard nothing from him. He's been MIA, but they had him sitting at home, and he's looking for a team, but he's never been to where he was at his high status at one point after he got hurt, man. It just seems like he never was able to recover. A la what we're seeing right now with Mr. Durant. But the Blake Griffin situation, you're right, man. A lot of players who making their money is going to get to the point where they're going to want to compete. He was with the Clippers. The Clippers was a really good team. Once they dismantled that team, man, and he went to the Pistons. That's when they said, okay, a lot of players say, I got my money. It's time for me to
really Pride is saying, I ain't mad at B. Griff, a la tainted meat. He may likely be forced into an early retirement.
Hey, if he can get a ring with that retirement, man, hey, that's something he can put on his resume.
Right, and the crazy thing about it is a lot of these people we talking about in terms of retirement and their NBA life, they in their early 30s. Hell, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but I do believe Andre Drummond is only like 28, 29 at this point. Blake only like in his early 30s, like 31 or so. We talking Kevin Durant, he only in his early 30s. So, you know, they still, by life standards, got a lot left to give in terms of life itself. But some of these same people we talk about, they didn't play in the league 12 and 13 years already. They done made all kinds of money.
Blake definitely making that money with the little TV show he got on the side too.
Yeah, some of these podcasts and stuff they got going on, because it's coming down to about 8 teams anyway, and not mad any player trying to get a ring or paper. Exactly. And at some point, we should have a discussion, y'all, about how the NBA postseason is set up with the 16 teams. Because in the end, a lot of those first round games, not so much. They could keep them. You know, you have your occasional upset, like the year Denver won, being an 8 seed and whatnot. But for the most part, it pretty much goes status quo that first round. It's only the second round on up where things really get interesting. That's my thought. What do you think, you?
Yeah, because a lot of the teams, you already know the destination. Some of the teams definitely in the first round, you look at that team and you like, man, you're not going to see any upsets. Most times it'd be like, come on, man, just get this series over with. You know, I hate it when they had all the series of 7 games. Some need to be a 3 and out because I just don't want them to drag it on. When we were the Pistons and we played the Cleveland Cavaliers, who went on and went to the championship that year, man. I don't like those dragged out games because they end up sweeping us anyway.
I think they should set it up like you can set it up on your NBA 2K. That first round be best of 3, second round be best of 5, and then we do best of 7 the rest of the way.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
I mean, because, yeah, in the end, you already know why that's really like that the way it is now, right? You know why, right?
Oh, yeah, you know, man.
Mean green. It's all about them dollars, y'all.
I see you reaching for that mic. I didn't know when you was going to do it.
you know we got to talk about cash consideration. It always comes up in sports. Okay, cuz saying because it's coming down to about, oh, yeah, we already went there. But, yeah, let me go back to this comment that Pride made because we definitely want to address this as well. Did you hear about the Miami Heat vaccination fan campaign? You know anything about that, Hugh?
Yeah, man, definitely been hearing about it, man. It's cool to hear that too. That a lot of the people basically been stepping up and trying to get vaccinated right now because it's important, man. You can't play if you ain't healthy.
True enough. And see, what we were learning is that several teams, among them, let me see, I actually wrote down a few of the teams that have done it. They're actually vaccinating some of their staff and players. They basically have got access to the vaccines, so they're getting it done early. Among those teams are the Atlanta Hawks, Portland Trailblazers, the Miami Heat, and the LA Lakers are looking to vaccinate anybody on their particular organization or squad that looks to do so. Now, I bring that up because, as y'all know, last week, or I think it was even early the week before, they talked to LeBron James about whether or not him and his family would be vaccinated, and he was very non-committal either way in regards to that, saying it would be a family decision that they would have to discuss. But now, as y'all know, our President Biden has put it out there that he wants every state to make all vaccinations available to any person from 16 and up that wants to get one by May 1st. And May 1st is approaching rapidly. In fact, May 1st will land before we get to the NBA championship rounds and all that stuff. It'll be right there in the early rounds of the playoffs. So, at that point, if say half the league is vaccinated, that kind of guards against what may happen in some of these playoff rounds. Now that there's no bubble, because think about it, that's going to be the worst thing. We can't do it like we're doing in the NCAA, so that if a team comes up playing, we get that team a bye, move them on to the next round. That ain't going to play out well, particularly if that team that got the bye because they didn't have to play a first round opponent ends up winning the championship.
Oh, that one, right, man. A lot of people would be pissed off with that, man. They probably go on strike with the NBA, man. That'd definitely be a bad idea. I think right now, like you said, they need to play it by ear, get all these guys vaccinated, man, for the ones who decide to. If you don't, it's your decision. We're not trying to bully anybody into doing it, but at the same time, you want all the players playing and you want them to be healthy and you don't want to continuously have these issues go on. Because like we discussed earlier, VCU didn't have that choice to play, man. They said, hey, you guys got too many people who, had the COVID and they got eliminated, man. Just that simple. It wasn't nothing else to it.
Right. Yeah, cuz saying they got 12 players step up. That number 11 player has been waiting. Well, hopefully they'll take the same protocols like they're doing with the baseball this season. Keep in mind, much like last year, they're going to have an expanded roster. So in the event that we have COVID outbreaks, those players will be allowed to play as opposed to having to sit in the minors, like in the case of a 40-man roster. They're talking about having at least 30 players up at any given time to play and step up in the event that they have COVID outbreaks. So I would definitely like to see the NBA do something similar, making maybe 15 or 16 players available. So in the event that they have that situation, they're at least in the building so they can get dressed and go on and play.
Get some of them G League guys acclimated to the pros to kind of get a feel of it. That'd be amazing, man. You never know, man. Sometimes in those situations, you'll have a diamond in the rough, a guy that you've never even seen play before who goes up there and just really play well, man, get his opportunity,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, some of the other things we want to talk about in regards to the trade deadline and some of the moves that's already been made. Let's talk about that move that the Bucks made in acquiring PJ Tucker from the Houston Rockets. What do you think about that?
I just feel bad for DJ Augustine. Damn, he almost played for every team in the NBA. We talked about that last week, when we wasn't on air. But it was a good move for Milwaukee, man. He gave them a little bit more moxie, man, because we all considered them, when it starts with their leader kind of soft, man. Giannis is soft, man. He gets bullied a lot, man. When we seen that Miami series, we was stunned. Like, man, they bullying this guy, man. They punching him in the mouth and he just couldn't respond. Now you got a veteran like Drew Holiday who's going to come over there and he's going to put it down. He's going to be more aggressive because Eric Bledsoe let them down so many times. And you got an enforcer over there. That's what he needed.
Right. And a lot of the good championship teams have seen have that one grit, that 3D guy that basically the Swiss Army knife type of guy that does a little bit of everything, but it's also the good locker room presence and give their team that identity. I mean, one of the more famous ones in the league, of course, is one Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. You know, that guy, he is the locker room guy in terms of, okay, let's get motivated. Let's do what we need to do. Let me lead by example by getting these rebounds, getting this offense going, trying to do the triple-double tonight, only getting 2 points, but doing everything else that we need to do on the floor. Yeah, Cousin has done his research on DJ Augustine. He has played with 10 teams already, but he is not the person that's played with the most teams in the NBA. I actually looked that up. I forgot who it was. I should have wrote it down. But there's a guy that's played for 11 teams in the NBA already. I forget who that is, but yeah, he done bounced around too.
Yeah, man, because I feel like right now it's good though to have him over there with the Bucks, man. But I think that's what when we was just talking about with the Celtics, you know, I basically got with you on commercial, like, what's wrong with these guys? They end up not losing by much because they were getting blew out really bad. I think they lost by 2 points on 121 to 119 to the Bucks. But I felt like they was missing the Marcus Smart effect, man, because you know when that guy played, they're a whole different team, man.
Absolutely.
And definitely didn't help that they lost Gary Terry. I didn't think that they even should try to get Kemba Walker. They should have just left him where he was.
Kemba Walker
X factor
in Boston. I cannot lie about that. I mean, granted, we already know he was undersized in terms of today's point guard or shooting guard in the league, but bottom line is I really thought because they had all those other weapons in Boston, he would definitely be better. And shout out to Charlotte Bob, well, no longer the Bobcats. Hold on. Ish Smith. There you go. He up on it. Yeah, so and ironically, both of those players have played for the Pistons. But yeah, the thing is in regards to Charlotte, they made that deal for Hayward, and Hayward's been playing very good for Charlotte.
He been balling over there, man. You know, he just been going about his business. You know, he got that blue collar effect. He keep quiet, man. He get his briefcase, his lunch pail, and he go over there and put in work, man. Some days you might surprisingly see him score 30, but he usually averages somewhere within the 20 range, and that's what we needed when he was in Boston, man. It just seems like it didn't click. I think where it went downhill for him when he was with the Celtics was that game when he tore up his leg. It was crazy. That was like, was it the first possession of the game? That kind of changed him, man, in a way. I think he's finally becoming his regular self again, and he don't have as much pressure being in one of those big market teams, too. You know, Charlotte kind of do their own thing, and he's a little under the radar due to the fact you have LaMelo Ball, which now I feel like with him out, they're going to need a lot more Scary Terry presence.
Absolutely. Okay. Eric is Ish Smith. Yeah, you're right. That's who it is. The person
he's nice.
Crazy, right? I mean, I think it's 30 teams in the league, something like that. And he didn't play half of. Remember Chucky Booker for back, or was it Chucky Brown that played for all those teams back in the day?
Was it Booker?
I think it was Chucky Brown. But yeah, he might actually have a record even for most teams played for. Y'all research on and look that up right quick. But look, here's another thing before we go on. There was a conversation that was had recently in a game between Charlotte Hornets and Golden State Spurs. One young LaMelo Ball received a technical foul for some things that he said and did in that game. And out of anybody to have a conversation, Draymond Green, who's had the most technical fouls of any player in the last 5 seasons in the NBA, had a conversation that basically had him understand that, no, you don't want to go down this road. You don't want to start being a person known for cause of trouble and get technical fouls. Don't start that. And that actually led to a conversation they had after the game as well. Okay, Miss Patty saying, I remember Ish Smith playing for the Lakers. Yeah, I think he did do that briefly. I do believe you're right about that, Miss Pat. But yeah, the thing is, let's talk about this technical foul situation. Now, the way it's set up now, I think you're allowed 16 technical fouls during the season. After that, for every additional technical foul, you receive a bonus fine of, I believe, $50,000 and a 1-game suspension. And then, of course, in the playoffs, you get 6 or more, the same scenario. Now, the thing is, only a few people come close to getting in that category. But of course, it's the same few people every year. Among them being, of course, one Draymond Green. So my question to you is this technical foul thing some BS? Should they not emphasize it? What do you think, Hugh?
Some of the guys I think that they pick on as far as the technical fouls, they used to definitely mess with Rashid on that note. Now that Draymond Green is the target, you get the guys who've been there and done that and who had those excessive fouls, the Boogie Cousins. They mess with those guys a little more, and they look at them a little more like they could do something that's not even as aggressive. Or if they argue and they drag out an argument, they'll get attacked. I think that's the BS of it all, too, because I don't think now that they even do, because remember back in the day when they used to argue and they'd get real, violent or get up and point in the ref's face, the refs didn't do much. They'll warn you before they give you a tag, but nowadays they feel like if you draw out a conversation.
The question my cousin just put up. Where does all that fine money go? That's a very good question. Now, I would like to think there's some type of donation they donate that to when they do so. I do remember there was actually a couple players who got technical fouls and actually took the money and matched it and donated it to a cause as well, or at least had their own to do. I know Mark Cuban did that one year in regards to some of his technical fines. But yeah, I would like to know what they do with that money. Is that going in some particular fund or in some pockets? I need to look that up. I'm gonna try to look that up and see if I can find out that information.
We could do our research and talk about that a little more, on the show to see where that money actually.
Like I said, y'all, this is y'all show. Like, all right, we like to talk about what you want to talk about. Let's call a quick audible here. Kill, Omaha. Because Cuz wants to talk MVP candidates in the NBA. What's your thoughts on it, Hugh?
There's a few of them, man. Right now, I definitely can't say Giannis. A lot of people might put him in that conversation. But like I said, man, one of the guys who I thought was a goofball at first, but he started to, claim his dominance as a big man. I know Joel is in that conversation. It's going to always be LeBron, man. Hopefully he could get healthy. And like Dame Dollar's going to be in there too, man. But you got the kid, Devin Booker, who definitely making a stake too as well.
Right. For those of y'all that's not up on Phoenix this year, you definitely want to check them out. They are playing some very good ball over there in the desert. And Booker, on a good night, he is hot as anybody in the league. And I understand that Golden State is kind of on the verge of the playoffs at this point, but you definitely got to get some love to your Steph Curry. He definitely, if nothing else, will be the comeback player of the year, no doubt. He looks very good these last few weeks in regards to his overall play. Okay, Cousin is saying it's Joker for me. And, man, let me tell y'all sleeping on Joker, man. That dude got skills. That dude is a very good player.
You know who he remind me of? A more athletic Vlade Divac.
Or no, even better still, a more athletic Arvydas Sabonis from back in the day. Basically, when Arvydas was healthy, a lot of his game is very similar to what Joker's game is now in terms of having long range, playing in the post, grabbing a lot of rebounds, and being an excellent passer as a big man. Most definitely. I really want to know if Portland is regretting that decision. So remember, at one point they had Nurkic and Joker. And those two big men both have similar skill sets, but they felt like they wanted to give them both some ample playing time. So they traded what they thought was the lesser of the two. Clearly, that was a bad decision.
Bad decision. That boy bad, man. Joker, man. He can grab rebounds. He can score with anybody. He can go toe-to-toe with anybody, man. His assist game, man, it shouldn't be as good as it is.
Right.
He can be
not a bad defender at all. Okay, me, myself, yeah, LeBron definitely would be my guy at this point. It really does depend on how many games he ends up missing. Okay, my man Luka ain't there this year, but Brian can win and for the most part, Brian probably should have won more than the 4 he already won because he's definitely in the top 3 in those discussions any particular year. I don't think that first year that Giannis should have won. He definitely shouldn't have won last year in regards to that was definitely LeBron. The man damn near was top 10 in scoring and then led the league in assists at 35. That was remarkable.
You know, they didn't want to put a lot of limelight on him at the time, man, because we already felt like they were going to be one of the teams who go all the way. But I still feel like on any given day that he performed, and definitely at his age, people got to remember that, man. He's not no spring chicken. To do and contribute and put in everything he do on that team, man, it's missed right now. Because by him being injured and you had AD who hasn't been playing really, man, you can tell the difference right now. Look how bad the team look without them.
Exactly. So yeah, those will be some of our choices. But that's it for our basketball talk right now. We're gonna take another commercial break. When we come back, hold on, let me address this comment. Not a Jordan or Bron big fan, but they both should have had 10. And Lord knows when Michael Jordan was in the league, he could have been MVP down there every year too for that 8 to 10 year stretch. So yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, but like I said, we're about to take a break from basketball. When we come back, I actually want to talk about the Olympics for a minute. There's something that's going on with the Olympics that I definitely want people to be aware of, and I definitely want to hear some of you guys' thoughts in regards to that. So we will talk about that when we get back. But first, a word from our sponsors and the people that we support, among them being this young man right here.
Come on now. Okay, black on. Get into it. Black on. Look at that. David Ford. Right there. That's his thing. Black on. He don't know Tom. Look at that. David Ford. That's his thing. He don't know Tom. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Oh, I can't see the demons. I can't see the demons, but I can see the light.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
Hi, this is Eric Buckner, host of Get Off My Lawn Live. Join me March 30th when we have as our special guest the one and only Fierce Mama. Fierce Mama will be our guest on Get Off My Lawn Live, March 30th. Please join us.
Hello, my fierce babies. Hola. Hola. Hello. It is me, Fierce Mama, and you guys are my fierce babies. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me once again.
Get Off My Lawn Live is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Gospel According to Pride is a Nighthawk Network. All right, y'all. We are back on Gametime Audible. I am your host, E. Beasy, along with the other host here, Hugh Lee, the sports guru. We are talking sports with you this evening. As always, we appreciate y'all's support in these manners. We also appreciate the comments. If you have any in regards to what we are talking about, feel free to comment as we go on to our next subject. That subject being the Olympics. So now we are at the point to where we have determined, yes, we are having the Olympics. That will go on in Tokyo, Japan in July as scheduled. However, there will be a major change that's being implemented that I want to talk about. The fact that, yes, they are holding the Olympics in Japan, but as of this time, they have determined that any of the sporting events to be had in the Olympics will be attended by only people who are native of Japan. If you are not Japanese, you will not be in the crowd. You will not be allowed, at least at this point in time, to be part of the people that view any of the sporting events. What are your thoughts on that, Hugh?
Doesn't make any sense to me. Why have fans in the crowd at all then? It's kind of a biased situation when you look at it because, if you have teams from all over the world that's in the competition and only a Japan crowd, you already knew I thought about that, how biased the crowd would be in general.
Me, myself, I have a big time problem with this, y'all, because first of all, the Olympics is a world stage sport. In other words, there are countries from all over the world that participate in the Olympics. Some of them may just send a few athletes for a couple sports. Some of them will send a whole brigade of folks for every sport. But that being said, that is crazy that they are not allowing any fans that are not Japanese within the confines. And here's the even crazier part, y'all. Here's the even crazier part, because do you understand that when they poll most Japanese people in regards to the Olympics, the majority, as in almost 3/4 of most Japanese people, are saying they prefer not to have the Olympics this year in Japan at all. And they definitely did not want to have fans that were out of towners, people from foreign countries, primarily because they were considered that they would bring COVID to their land. COVID is not a huge issue in Japan at this point. They don't have the type of outbreaks that we still have here in the States or in some of the countries in the UK and some of the countries in South America. They basically have it under control to a degree, and they do not want it to lead to a whole nother situation with people from other countries coming here. But if, like I said, in a few polls they've done with most of the Japanese people, most of them would not want to have the Olympics here at all, period, because of COVID primarily. But they basically want them to shut it down, and they going against the will of the people. So the question is, one, if you've determined that, okay, to appease certain Japanese fans, you're not going to have nothing but Japanese people in the stands. Two, are those people going to attend the games? Because if they don't agree, will it lead to, even though you're going to have a lot of implementation of smaller crowds, will lead to some events not having any crowd at all? Much like they first talked about when they talked about not having any spectators at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense right now at this time. They're definitely afraid because they feel like they don't want to be in a situation where it can be an outbreak again. They just trying to be the best people they can be, and they trying to be safe. That's why I feel like right now it's not really a good idea to have Olympics, period. But at the same time, Japan, if they don't want to be a part of it, why force them to be in the crowd? Let it be, man. Just go ahead and just do it some other time. I just don't think it's the right time and the place to do it.
Now, see, here's the thing. I understand that the Japanese government and Japanese country has invested over $100 billion in holding the games and whatnot. But all that being said, I would not want a partial Olympics, a Olympics that would be looked upon as an asterisk like those Montreal games in 1980, where certain countries are not going to participate because of this fact. If they are there and all they have for support is them, some countries, particularly the smaller countries with the smaller brigades of folks, I don't think they invest that time and effort and money to bringing their athletes to the games because of that. It is unfortunate that COVID hit and it has thrown off the Olympics to begin with. But bottom line is, if we know the vaccines are being handed out at this point, and at some point everybody will be eligible, I don't think you should wait till July to do the games. I think you basically should be given a pass. In other words, wait till next year or hell, wait till 2024. Let them have the games and then take the succession back. So where Paris was supposed to happen in 2024, now they get in 2028, and so on, according to who's been picked already. With the understanding that COVID happened, and that's why it went down that way. I know that actually hurts certain athletes because this will be their last games in terms of their age and whatnot, but we got to be fair. I think that's the fairest way to deal with it.
Yeah, because we got to be honest with each other right now, man. Just like Japan, they're nervous about having foreigners come in, period. But have the athletes come in there, man, it could be an outbreak with the athletes, man. And then you got the people in the crowd who don't only want to be there in the first place, just don't think it's the right time and place, and they just need to invest and just push the reset button on this, man, because it's not necessary to try to continue with this. Yeah, I know you got $100 billion invested into it, but at the same time, is it worth putting the athletes, your people in Japan, and even you at risk? Come on, man. You should be smarter than that.
Right, Miss Pat saying absolutely wait. So yeah, like I said, any of you other guys that may be in the room, if you have any comments in regards to this subject, feel free to comment and let us know your opinion on this. Should they hold the Olympic Games this year? Yay or nay? What say you? We are both basically saying no, they should not. They should wait. They should postpone it to at least a year to where most people are vaccinated and most people could be comfortable with coming and going to the games as they please. I would like to see that, even if we somehow push it back a couple months to maybe the September time, to where it's still relatively warm in Japan. So that's good for the outdoor sports. But we've had more time to vaccinate more people so that we have the opportunity to bring fans to the actual games. Because the thing is, I don't even know how many of the athletes will be allowed to sit there and report their fellow athletes in regards to that because of the COVID protocols they have set in place. So I don't know how well that's going to work out.
I don't think it will work out, man. We're going to see a lot of people, like you said, they're going to just say they're going to band together in countries and say it's not really worth us going and trying to compete right now when we know what's at stake.
Right. And like I said, certain sports, if it's not going to get the proper support, that's just going to kill the Olympics for me. You know, some of the major sports that a lot of the athletes are drawn to, the gymnastics, the swimming, the track and field, of course. There is, of course, the basketball. They're going to do baseball this year in the Olympics. And then some of the new sports they're talking about implementing. That's not going to get the type of play that it would deserve if they had enough fans. Because keep in mind, Japanese people, yeah, they like several of these sports, but some things that they wouldn't support under a number of circumstances, they're not going to particularly care for. And that's probably going to affect the overall crowd output. Miss Pat is saying, yeah, I don't think it will work out. I got to agree with you, Miss Pat. I don't think it's going to go over well. And then, of course, you got to consider the TV considerations of you have Olympic Games that's unwatchable because of how the crowd is dealing and the lack of energy and whatnot that you would normally get. Then, yeah, that's going to make it very difficult to sell that overall. But we'll see how that will play out in terms of the Olympics. When we get back, we got one last subject to discuss with you here on Gametime Audible. We want to talk about, well, he's not necessarily a young man anymore, but a man by the name of Iron Mike Tyson. He got something going on that we should definitely get into, y'all. So let's have that discussion when we return with Gametime Audible after a word from our fine affiliates here at the Nighthawk Network.
Set your place on fire. Let's get higher. I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher. I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher. I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher. I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher.
All right, Gametime Audible is back. I am Eric Buckner. That is Hugh Lee. We've been talking sports with you this evening. We are going to be wrapping it soon, but before we do that, I want to have a quick discussion about the boxing world in regards to one Iron Mike Tyson. As you guys know, Iron Mike Tyson has made a return to the ring in recent months. He did a charity event where he did an exhibition with one Roy Jones Jr. Basically, it was declared a draw and a tie. But those of you who've actually watched that fight know that Mike put it on him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And as a result, people have got real interest to see what he will do in future events. So because of that, it has been put out here that he has a future fight. Talk about it, Hugh.
Yeah, he gonna be fighting the old nemesis, Evander Holyfield. Definitely want to see that. I didn't like the first outcome, what happened, when I just didn't really think Tyson was really there at the time. He wasn't focused, and I don't think he was in the place that he is right now. He hit the reset button. He's a little older now, but I still feel like he got that dog in him, man. And I definitely would like to see him compete because when we see the little sparring things he do online, man, you look at him, you see how he looked when he was like in his 30s, and you see him now, man, it's like night and day. He looked like he supposedly looked like when he was in his 30s right now. And that man just looks fast. He's accurate. He's hungry, man. He definitely liked that part of his life, and he didn't want to give it up too soon. He remind me of the old custom model Mike Tyson.
And see, here's the interesting thing about it. Now, in his previous fights, he said that at this point, he just wants to fight for the love of the sport. He's not concerned about money. He doesn't want to have those types of problems anymore. As you know, Mike at one point was one of the richest people in sports, period. But because of his financial situations going the way it did, at one point he was also penniless and broke. But now he has come to make a decent income for himself, and now they're actually considering him for fights that would definitely make money, as I believe this one is. But another thing is this. Hold on. What is this grudge match? De Niro versus Stallone. Two old fogies fight, but no, I think it hopefully will be a little bit more entertaining than that. But that being said, I don't know what type of shape Evander's in these days, but I've seen Mike Tyson recently. He looks real good. He put me to shame at 53. And here I'm at 50, still working with all this here.
Yeah, man, I think this time it ain't gonna be like it was when he fought Evander before, man. And I think that he's just gonna come out swinging. Like you said, we've seen Tyson, we've seen what he did, we've seen him in the exhibition. We haven't seen nothing in Evander Holyfield in a long time, man. So
right.
Do he have what it take? Can he last that long in those rounds? And I just want to see where he's at right now, because we know he was a heck of a fighter and he had a lot of stamina and he can go toe to toe with anybody at the time. But now he's a little bit more up in age too. So I want to know where he's at versus what we've seen with Mike Tyson. I think it'll be a good show, man. I would like to see it. I would pay for it, but at the same time, I think it'll be interesting.
Okay, cousin said Tyson gonna hurt him. He's mellow and focused. Absolutely. In other words, Tyson be getting high as shit these days. And that's the thing. Because of that, I feel like it's made him more of a calmer individual in terms of his thought processes and action. Not to mention just being more mature from his life experiences. So because of that, I basically see them having a fight, and I see Mike beating him up. Now the question is, will this lead to actual legitimate fights later on? In other words, does Mike Tyson make a real comeback and start to actually try to attempt to fight fighters of caliber in today's age? Bottom line is Mike Tyson still is always 5'11" on a good day. I do not see him competing with the present champions of the world in the heavyweight division, the Anthony Joshua's and the Tyson Furies of the world, especially since the fact that both of those gentlemen are running at least 6'6". And know what? With Lennox Lewis back in the day.
Yeah, I don't think that he would, man. It'd be a little bit too much for him, I think, to go back into that type of competition. The Browns and everything too, man. So I think what he's doing right now is just as good for him, and that's up his ballpark. Because I don't know about a Tyson Fury or fighting somebody in that level right now. Definitely in his age. I would like to see it, but I just don't think he have it in him. This ain't the Balboa movie, This is real life. So I don't think he'll be able to pull that one off, but definitely just like to see him put up a good fight and see where his heart is, because we know that he still have pride in boxing, and he's doing it for the love of the sport. So I just want to see a good fight. I would like to see that at least.
I agree. I agree. Like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight some of the lesser heavyweights if it's going to be entertaining. But in the end, if he basically can only fight now if they allow him to smoke marijuana first, that's probably where the real problem going to come in. But anyway, Miss Pat saying that. This will also lead to other comebacks, by the way. Keep in mind, one of the masked dancers in this season of The Masked Dancer was one Oscar De La Hoya, who has mentioned since that time because he got in such good shape from doing the show, he is definitely considering coming back to boxing. And like I said, this is not new to boxing. Many times people try, and then a few years later decide to come back in their older age and try to do what they do again, and usually it ends up in a very bad situation. So, okay, look,
will be
still on YouTube. He looks in shape. Okay, I have to check that out, cuz. But yeah, like I said, if he's in shape, that will definitely make it more interesting. That
yeah,
I still say might beat the brakes off of.
yeah, because he got too much power, man. The guy he be sparring with, man, he be gasping. You see all the pads he have on. He well protected, but
Oh yeah,
Tyson to that body still, man. But yeah, I would like to see that, and I'm gonna definitely check out that with the YouTube, man. See where Holyfield at. You know, cuz said he in good shape. I want to see what he all about because I want to see if it'll be worth it. But like I said, man, I will not pay for it though, man.
I have to agree. So okay, that being said, Hugh, before we head on out, is there any other subject you want to discuss? And that goes for you in the comments too. Any other sport you guys would like us to talk about for a second before we head on out? Feel free to comment right quick. What you got, Hugh?
I would like to talk the winners and the losers of the NFL. You know, it was some teams I felt like reached for talent, and it was teams I felt like stayed, in game mode, and they kept their poker face, and I felt like they did really well.
Okay, let's get into that then. Right quick. Well, first of all, I gotta say, in terms of actual individuals, in terms of the contract they receive, as opposed to the talent they have, Trent Williams, offensive tackle, San Francisco 49ers, he is clearly my number one winner. At age 33, he got him a deal, 5 years, and what was the particulars on that, Hugh?
Man, that dude had like 138 million.
And most of
that for a guy that age.
So yeah, for somebody, I mean, keep in mind, 33 in the NFL, you might as well be 50 now.
Yeah.
And for him to get that type of deal out of them at that age, I felt that was remarkable. Okay, cuz is saying, did I miss NFL? Nope, we're actually talking about it right now, cuz. So okay, what you doing here?
Man, that dude averaged 23 million a year, guaranteed money, over 40 million.
Not bad at all. So yeah, for a 33-year-old player in the league where by that time most people didn't bowed out altogether, he is cashing in big time. Who are some of your other winners, Hugh?
Bud Dupree, man. Bud Dupree, I feel like when he came off of his injury, a lot of people were going to give up on him. I didn't think he was going to have that spark in free agency, man. But he surprised me, man. It was funny to me because I was looking and like, what the hell's going on with the Tennessee Titans? They clearing up a lot of cap space, and they cleared up that cap space to get them their pass rusher, who is Mr. Bud Dupree, man, which he's second on the list, man. He had like a 82 million. $500,000 contract, average 16 million a year with the guaranteed money of 35 million. So yeah, he did good, man, for himself. Definitely coming from a team that we know so good, man. And I always felt like they were like New England Patriots. That's why I hate Pittsburgh so much, because they think alike, except for this year, because New England spent money like they was crazy. But yeah, I knew they weren't going to overpay for Bud Dupree, and they was going to let him go out there and test their free agency. And I felt like, man, that team, they won on both sides, because Jadeveon Clowney definitely won the pass rusher they was looking for. I felt like Vic Beasley was a big disappointment, which now he's considered in my bust bracket because he didn't do anything in Atlanta. He went to Tennessee and they released him. I just don't feel like he's cut for the NFL. I might be wrong, but I doubt it. But yeah, man, Bud Dupree is one of my other winners.
Okay, cuz, and what's up with the Bears and the QB position? Now, as you know, or maybe you don't know, cuz the Bears have decided to go in a different direction than what they initially talked about. It looked like they were very active in trying to get either one Watson out of Houston area or get your boy Wilson from Seattle. Don't look, they were successful in that because they don't have a lot of draft capital to throw in there. There's been talks that they may consider talking to a third party and trying to get a 3-player team deal going, something that rarely happens in the NFL these days. But right now they are going with Andy Dalton as their other quarterback option.
Good rifle.
They are not naming him as the starter at this point, but you would definitely have to think because they paid, I believe it was $10 million for him. I believe that's a 1-year deal as well, that they would definitely be considering him to be the starter at this point and let them work it out in terms of the backup between Trubisky and I do believe they have Glennon still there as well.
It just was a crazy situation in Chicago, man. It was sad because I know they was definitely having their eyes on Russell Wilson. They were really aggressive, man. I seen that on Sunday. I seen it that Monday, and then it got to the point where it didn't materialize. And that's when they said, you know what, let's just go ahead and just rack our losses, man. We're going to move on. They wanted something before Monday, and Seattle said we're not willing to trade him, not at this time, so they moved on. And which I don't blame Chicago. I'm not going to keep fighting or keep trying to claw at y'all, and y'all basically telling me that you're not going to do it, you know. So I think it was better for them to move on. Andy Dalton, do I think that was the best bet out there? No, I don't. But I think they should have reached out to Marcus Mariota or something. But, I mean, who knows, man? He might give them what they need right now, at least a little security blanket. And I feel like if he could just manage games, because the defense going to keep you in the game. But if he could just manage games, it might be worth it, man. We just have to wait and see.
Right now, speaking of Marcus Mariota, I was very surprised to find out, A, that he actually re-signed with the Raiders, but also they granted him the opportunity to have a no-trade clause put in his contract. I was very shocked by that.
Yeah, and the money that he actually took the pay cut on was going to incentives. So he could still get that back. So that was just basically telling me the high hope they have in him. And what's so crazy about it is that should make Derek Carr worry, man, because at the end of the day, you know how it is. On draft day, they do a lot of sneaky things, man. They could just decide from the contract Derek Carr has that they can move on if they want to.
Absolutely. Okay. Quick update. My ESPN feed. They're saying this is possibly the last time Kyle Lowry walks off the floor as a Raptor. Perhaps there's a deal in the works that we don't know about, but if ESPN's putting that out there, they might be on to something.
Yeah, it's gonna probably be one of them teams because I feel like Schroeder been doing a lot for the Lakers, but I think they still feel like they probably really need that go-to guy over there. And they might just feel like they need that extra cushion to push them through, definitely without having LeBron James and Anthony Davis both on the injury reserve.
Absolutely.
How did you feel about the Kenny Galladay deal, man? He got from the Giants. The Giants been low-key a winner, man. They've been getting some good players over there, man. I
was actually surprised that he did not sign early with people when first free agency started. It was a few days before he finally came up with a deal, and I'm definitely surprised he went to the Giants. I really thought he would either go out there with Matthew Stafford and see what was going on with the Rams, or he would go to one of those, teams that were definitely looking to contend, like say the Patriots or a team of that nature.
And the Rams are one of my losers too, man. I definitely respect the fact that they ended up doing what they did and re-signed a lot of their veteran players, but they need a big target out there, man. No disrespect to who they have. I like Robert Woods. They let Garrett Everett walk. They have more confidence in their other tight end at this time, but yeah, they didn't really have much, man. And don't get me wrong, I like Cooper Kupp too. but I just didn't feel like they had a guy who could stretch the field, a big physical back, who can actually run down the field. If they had a big physical wide receiver, I think that it'd be better for them right now at this time. But I just didn't feel like they did enough. Keeping your players, that's good, but they should have made a splash out of wideout.
Right. Well, that being said, we know we still got the draft coming up, and they're saying it's going to be a good draft year for wide receivers. So maybe they make that move in regards to that. But yeah, that being said, y'all, we've had a great time this evening talking sports with y'all. I have enjoyed myself. Hugh, did you have a good time?
Definitely had a good time. Appreciate y'all interacting with us, man. Like we said, it's not a me and E show. This is a we show. This is for us, by us. Y'all don't have to, be shy when we make comments or when we put anything out there. We just want y'all to, participate too and give y'all thoughts. Definitely want more woman interactions, man. We definitely want y'all to, just pay more attention, to be more keen to y'all sports too, man, because we ain't gonna always talk about, the NBA. We're gonna talk about all sports. That's what this platform is about.
Yeah, we are committed to talking all sports, both men and women's sports. We'll get into discussions in regards to that. Keep being informed. Great job. Thanks, cuz. We appreciate it. I want to shout out to my co-host for a good job this evening. Also want to shout out to all you guys. Of course, our favorite guy, my cousin said Bill Belt, checking into the building. Little cuz Keon checked in. Also to some of the family members I've seen pop in and out. Appreciate you. Definitely always want to give a shout out to the people that catch the rebroadcast. Let us know what you thought of the show if you catch the rebroadcast. Make sure that you go ahead and comment on certain things that you see in regards to the broadcast. We do get those comments after the fact, so we definitely want to hear from you guys in terms of what we did on the show. If you have any suggestions in regards to improvements or upgrades, things you want to talk about more, we are definitely open to making those adjustments for you guys, because we want this to be the best show that we could be in terms of that, and we definitely want you guys to play a very integral part of it. So that being said, if you have any questions or comments, you of course can reach me or Hugh Lee in our Facebook Messenger, but as well, you can contact us through the Nighthawk Network Gmail account. That is nighthNetwork313@gmail.com. Again, that's nighthNetwork313@gmail.com. There will also soon be a number, and we're also working on developing a website for not only this show, but all the shows in the Nighthawk Network. So stay tuned to that. Shout out also to any of our people that are our foreign correspondents. We are now starting to have people from other countries checking out these shows, and I appreciate that. Thank you guys for being involved. Several of you that I've met on that Bigo platform. There'll be more news in regards to my work on Bigo on future shows. With that being said, we about to head up out of here. As always, we got to give some love to other members in our Nighthawk Network, such as the people at Dish and T, that being Big Meech, Aunt Nikki, and Big Red. Shout out to them. That makes us Behind the Blue Curtain. It comes on Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Girl Stop Podcast, featuring Elena Miller and Letitia Williams Howard, that we post weekly here, as well as Pastor Sean Love Presents. You can find all these shows, by the way, on their YouTube pages. So by all means, seek them out that way for present shows and past episodes as well. Tomorrow we will have the Get Off My Lawn After Dark edition. We'll be playing that for you guys right here. Hold on. Have to make a quick adjustment to the flyer here. Yes, the Get Off My Lawn After Dark edition will be coming Thursday. We're going to be talking about some more adult content. So if you got kids in the room when we come on tomorrow, 9:30, 10 o'clock, by all means, you might want to put them up. So we're going to talk about some deep discussion in regards to certain things of an adult content nature. So please be careful in those regards. Should we be joined by my co-host H2, as well as young Israel from Israel's Room is supposed to join us as well for that combo, and perhaps another special guest. We will see. We of course got Gametime Audible that you are watching now, as well as I'm forgetting somebody. Don't forget about Hey Bitches with Host Elaine Hologram, of course, Monday nights. But no, we're also forgetting about the remix with your boy Derek that will be coming on any particular time, any particular day. All depends on when Derek wants to chime in and discuss it. One last comment before we go. Great job, according to Derek Smith. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And also, we have Greater Show. I want to ask one question before we go. What do y'all think about Tank the Fighter? I'm not really familiar with him. Are you, Hugh?
Tank, only Tank I remember, man. You know, he was old school, man. I don't even know if he's still fighting no more. Tank Abbott.
Okay, yeah. Now him I'm familiar with, yeah.
Yeah,
But I haven't heard anything recently about him.
Kid.
Outside of that, the only Tank I know is that R&B singer that had that questionable comment a couple years back about us and whatnot. But maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. Oh, okay. That one. You talking about Tank Davis to fight the little guy. Yeah, I'm not familiar with what his latest fight scenario is, but yeah, I've seen Devontae Davis, Tank. You know, I do believe they call him Tank. Yeah, I've seen that guy fight. I'm very intrigued by his skills, but they say part of the issue is that outside of the ring, he's trying to be a little smaller version of Money Mayweather. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he's spending that money and kind of, living dangerously.
Yes, you, of course, know that is you, Derek. I know your government, sir. I am glad you are checking in. Kind of curious as to why you're checking in on this particular page. You don't use it much, but yeah, I know what you got.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, H2. I mean, obviously, he was kind of surprised by that announcement, but no, I knew it was you. But no, nonetheless, y'all, we are going to check on out here. Again, thank you all for joining and all your comments, all the people that chimed in. Definitely thanks. Special shout out to Coach V who called in this evening on the show. Okay, hold on. Got one last comment. No, he was charged with a hit and run. Oh no, I was not aware of that.
Man.
Up on game then. Okay, we will definitely look into that, Pat. Maybe we'll talk about that on our next go round here because I was not familiar with that particular story. But yeah, I will look into it.
We're gonna have to definitely chime in on that, and we're gonna have to do Deshaun Watson too, man. We spoke a little bit.
Hold on. Yeah, keep going, Hugh.
Yeah, because what he did was we don't know if he did it or not. It just seems like more or less with our pro athletes, every time something happened or if they get a little disgruntled and want to get traded, that's when all this stuff come about, like a la Antonio Brown with his sexual allegations, and now with these crazy situations with the sexual assaults with Deshaun Watson, man. It's like every time a black player wants to get his way or he might not do the things like he should do and kind of strong arm his way out of a situation, that's when all these sexual allegations and all this crazy nonsense happen.
Absolutely. So yeah, that being said, y'all, we will definitely look into that and bring you more information on that story. Matter of fact, let me write that down in my notes right now. You see, Derek H2 is up on it as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I do believe Devontae Davis is based out of the Baltimore area where these guys are checking in from, by the way. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I do believe he's I don't want to say he's a Baltimore native, but I know he is from that area. Am I right about that, y'all? But nonetheless, like I said, we will definitely look into that story and have more information in regards of that for you guys next week, as well as other sports topics to discuss. But until then, again, thank you. Let me let my my counterpart here have the last word this evening.
Appreciate y'all for having such a wonderful show. Thank you for the interactions. Once again, too, when the show's not going on and y'all need y'all sports fix, y'all can tune in to Pure to the Game. It's always there, the blog sport podcast. Well, actually, just the sports blog show. I'm going to just be dropping everything y'all need to know each and every day, man. I'll be on that 24/7. I shouldn't be doing it at the job, but if I find some news out there that's worth mentioning, you'll get it firsthand. Most times I get it like maybe 4 or 5 minutes before ESPN. So if you're looking at the page, you might find out something way ahead of time. But just to let you know to tune in, man, because every time I'm going to be there with your sports fix. So if you don't catch the show on Wednesday, which we suggest you do, definitely go on that Pure to the Game as well. But you'll miss a lot of the stuff if you don't get on our show on Wednesday, man, because that's where most of our discussions come about. So yeah, tune in to Gametime Audible and go to that Pure to the Game page and get your sports fix.
Absolutely. Like I say, there's a lot of good information on there, and Hugh's usually up on it. So before it even comes out of some of the major streaming platforms or outlets, Hugh has the inside scoop on some of that information. So you definitely want to check that out. That being said, y'all, let's get up out of here. This has been Gametime Audible. That has been the Sports Guru. I'm your boy Big E. Join us tomorrow for Get Off My Lawn Live, the After Dark edition with me and H2, aka Derek Smith, and Young Ezra, and perhaps another special guest. We will talk about that tomorrow. But looking forward to seeing you guys then. Until then, y'all have a good one.
Peace.
Out in, hold on, 3, 2, 1. That part. Gametime Audible is a Nighthawk Network.